Do you know what Watergwan is? It's where you can get news about the Jamaican culture and just learn about how Jamaicans are doing as a yard and abroad.
Salut tout le monde, ici Carrière La Flamme. T'aimes le reggae en français, en anglais, qui vient du Canada, du Québec et de la Jamaïque? Écoute Watergwan.
So rope in and come check out the thing now. It's Watergwan.
I live in the UK and I enjoy tuning in to Watergwan.
I am a big fan of Watergwan. I'm always looking forward for the great vibes, the great things. They discuss a lot of things that are going on in Calgary, across Canada, and of course Jamaica. So
this is what is going on in Jamaica. But check out Watergwan.
Every Friday at 7 p.m. Calgary time.
You get to learn a new Jamaican patois word or even a Jamaican trick.
I look forward to the patois word of the day, feeding my nostalgic mood with flavor and spice. Only Jamaicans can do.
Watch Watergwan.
It happens every Friday, 7 p.m. So check them out. And bye from Toronto.
Watch Watergwan.
Yo, this is Keisha.
Watch Watergwan.
Relevant and entertaining, so keep up the good work.
Watch Watergwan.
tune in, share, listen to Watergwan.
Big up yourself. Watergwan 2022. Bless her.
Watergwan. Yes, I. Watergwan.
Watch Watergwan.
Always you're going to know Watergwan in a yard. Check it out. 7 p.m. every Friday.
Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Shelly Morgan. Thank you very much. And it is my absolute pleasure to be your host for yet another episode of Watergwan. We hope you had a successful week and that you're preparing for another fabulous weekend. Thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful episode and very important episode of Watergwan. Today's topic is about cancer awareness, breast and prostate cancer, with our invited guests, Dr. Yvonne Kangong and Anthony Henry. This discussion is meant to be informative, thought-provoking, even though we know it's a very heavy topic. The goal of this show is to create healthy discussion and promote dialogue on a broad range of topics that are important for our well-being. So stay tuned. And also prevention is worth a pound of cure. Now, let us go to the word of the day. Today's word is labrish. Girl, labrish. We invite you to write the definition in the comments. We also welcome all your questions and comments in the chat. Let's keep the conversation going. Use it in a sentence. Tell me what it means. Labrish. Labrish. Me no, so just tell me. Now, quick recap. Last week, we had a lovely discussion with Dr. Melissa Royal and Janelle Brown about the role of spirituality and what function it plays in society. We spoke about spirituality being ingrained in our cultural heritage, the changing social conditions which change how spirituality is presented in modern times, and the introduction of technology within the traditional spiritual spaces. We say thank you to Melissa and Janelle for joining us on the show to share their thoughts and insight. It was a very lively discussion on this very interesting topic. We love to hear from you. We love to hear your comments, your feedback, and just in case you missed that episode last week or any episode, check out the replay on Watergwan YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Find the links on our website, watergwan.ca. Now, what's happening across Canada? Let's have a look. In Montreal, tomorrow, the Jamaica Association of Montreal's Heroine and Heroes Banquet will be held. It will be held at the Ruby Foods restaurant located at 7633 Decari Boulevard, starting at 6 p.m. And tickets are $124 for association members and $140 for non-members. The guest speaker will be clinical social worker Mr. Vassar George Ogilvy. For more information, please call 514-737-8229 or email info@jammontreal.com. In Winnipeg, it's tomorrow. The Afro-Caribbean Association of Manitoba is hosting a fall dinner and dance tomorrow, October 15th, located at 239 Watt Street, starting at 6:30 p.m. with a cocktail hour, followed by a seated dinner at 7 p.m. The Honorable Aubrey Gordon, the Manitoba Minister of Health, will be the guest speaker for the evening, and live entertainment will be by the one and only Clyde Herla and Paradise Band. The tickets are $40 for adults and $15 for children under the age of 12. Please note, tickets must be purchased before, well, you should have bought your tickets before October 10th to reserve your seat, but give them a call just in case you haven't bought those tickets at 204-677-6919. Another event in Winnipeg will be the Congress of Black Women of Manitoba, which invites you to join them for their general meeting and breakfast on Saturday, October 15th at Alto Gardens Cafe, located at 1824 Pembina Highway. Tickets are $14.99 plus tax. RSVP before October 12th, you should have, to ensure your space. For more information, please send an email to cobwmb@gmail.com. In Vancouver, check out Level the Vibes Oldies Reggae Show, sharing the best ska, rockers, reggae, roots, and culture on Vancouver's Corp Radio CFRO 100.5 FM on your radio dial with your host, George Barrett, every Tuesday morning from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Check out their website at coopradio.org or search Level the Vibes to discover past shows. Connect to their social media and find the best way to listen to the live broadcast where you live. And finally, in Winnipeg, Roots Reggae Community invites you to Shaggy Birthday Edition happening on Saturday, the 22nd October at the Goodwill Social Club, located at 625 Portage Avenue. Tickets and show info can be found at www.showpass.com/Shaggy Winnipeg. More details are coming in the following weeks. And now, for our favorite Spot the Place. The music just always get to me. Now, this one is going to be interesting. This is where we show you a picture in Jamaica or Canada, and you need to tell us the exact location. I have some clues. This Spot the Place is located in St. Thomas, Jamaica. It is home of the Bambusa vulgaris species, originally from India. This thoroughfare is about 2.5 miles long, close to Lacovia, which once alternated with Black River as capital of St. Elizabeth. Can you spot the place? Add it to the comments. Tell us what you think this is. Give us a guess. We really want to hear from you. And I'll tell you if you're right or if you're wrong towards the end of the show. But now, let's prepare to reason with my brethren and Labrish with Donovan.
What's up, Sherry?
Hello. You're going to Labrish?
Yeah, but not with you.
I know, but I'm going to hear the Labrish.
Well, it's a little bit more than lavish. I think
That's
it's a
a
little bit
deep
more
one,
than
too.
lavish. Lavish kind of sound careless, right? But this one is
A
going to
little
become.
gossipy.
No, man, but I tell you, so that's why this one is not lavish. This is some deep reasoning, right? Because we're going to talk about something serious, cancer. This is Cancer Awareness Month, and we have November coming up and all of them something. And it's one of them diseases that seem to affect the black race, quite a bit. It affects everybody. So this week we're going to have a reason about it, especially with some of the things that affect us and also things that we can do, right? So we're going to have like a serious conversation, and later me can do a little collaboration.
I like that. Have a good one.
All right, well done. Greetings, folks. Greetings. Welcome again to A Time to Reason here on Gwaan. My name is Donovan, and today we're going to talk about cancer. Yes, we're going to talk about cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and possibly other cancers. We've got Dr. Yvonne Kangong with us. She's a clinical lecturer here at the University of Calgary. She's a medical director at the Mosaic Primary Care Network. She does family and obesity medicine. She's a co-founder of Diabetic Meals Dispensary and a number of other things. I know this is an area that she wants to definitely get into. We also have Anthony Henry, who is the first vice president of the Walnut Foundation out in Ontario, and it's a Black men's prostate cancer support group. He chairs the committee that focuses on their annual Walk the Path walkathon, and he also is a peer navigator with the Princess Margaret Hospital out of Jamaica, which supports some of the things that they do in Movember every year. Really happy to have both of them with me here today on Gwaan as we discuss this serious issue that affects our community. So let's get them to join me here, and let's have some reasoning. Hey Doc, hey Anthony.
Hello.
No.
Welcome to Gwaan. Doc, I know you're not Jamaican, so I have to test you first with the word.
Mm-hmm.
What do you understand by lavish?
Lavish. I didn't really catch the word initially. I'm thinking it's like in St. Lucia, maybe when they say liming.
Close enough.
I'm going to lime.
I'll give that one to you. Anthony's supposed to know what it means, so I can't ask him the same question. But we can talk about a common subject that I think all of us in different ways look at, have to experience, which is cancers, right? So Doc, I'm going to start with you because I'm going to look for, especially because you're a teacher at this thing as well. Let's start by helping our audience understand what cancer is.
Yeah, cancer is one of those things whereby for some reason the cells in your body just goes into like advanced mode. It just starts multiplying to a point that your body starts developing like abnormal cells, and that's what we call cancer. And so sometimes it might be as a result of your family history, sometimes it might be as a result of your lifestyles, and sometimes we don't really know why.
Right.
Because we've seen people who are like really healthy and and suddenly they have cancer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it doesn't discriminate. And let's bring you in early as well, because you focus on a specific one, which is prostate cancer through the Walnut Foundation. Talk to us a little bit about the Walnut Foundation, first of all, and this whole issue of prostate cancer, especially in the Black community with men.
Mm-hmm. So the impetus for thanks for having me on the show as well.
Yeah.
Happy to be a part of this. Anything to build awareness. So basically, the Walnut Foundation was started in 2007 by Dr. Winston Isaac and Simon Samuel. What really happened was when these two men were diagnosed, they just realized that there was just a scarcity of information and understanding. In fact, Dr. Isaac, who was a director at Sunnybrook, at Ryerson University, which is now Toronto Metropolitan University. He was head of the School of Health Sciences Management there. He felt like using the term fish out of water, so to speak. And so he thought, well, if I'm in the industry and I'm feeling this way, what about my other brothers on there? So that was basically the impetus for coming together. And the other issue too was that there is a lot of silence around this issue of prostate cancer. So it was an attempt to stem that created the Walnut Foundation.
Okay, awesome. Let's go back to Doc and go back into the clinical thing. Breast cancer, there's seemingly some cancers that seem to affect the black population more than others. Let's talk a little bit about some of those cancers, primarily maybe breast and prostate cancer. And is there some medical, clinical reason why?
No, not really. Like it's really, I've been reviewing this for the longest time. There are certain medical conditions that affect certain group of people. Let's say the Jews. There are also certain medical conditions that affect Black people. Sometimes it might be just our genetic makeup. Sometimes it might just be also our environment. And prostate cancer is one of those. So, compared to other cancers for men, right? And breast cancer also affects women almost equally. You think of like 1 in 3 women, at some point might have, prostate cancer is more common in Black men as opposed to other races. And no one really knows why.
Yeah. And since it's so common, Anthony, sorry, I'm going to come to you on that. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the whole issue of the stigma of it and some of the things that you see through your foundation and how you address that.
The stigmas are many. I mentioned the silence before. That's one issue. There's also certain issues that relating to masculinity and sexuality and how we see ourselves.
Right.
On there. A lot of us define ourselves by what's below the belt. So these are some of the issues we have to work through on there. So you have the silence, you have the masculinity issue that then prevents people from getting tested, right? Like myself, I am 1 of 4 in my family. You touched on the genetics before.
Mm-hmm.
1 of 4. My father died from this disease at age 68. Another brother was diagnosed at 57. And he got treated. He's still alive. Myself, I got diagnosed at 54. In our organizations, we see a lot of that type of thing. What's good is that there's beginning to be a sort of awakening in the community, right? Where people are beginning to say, hey, let's talk about this.
Right.
Because one of the issues was, for example, touching on the silence thing.
Right.
My uncle didn't come to his nephews and say, hey, you guys, remember your father died from this disease.
Right.
Get yourself checked.
Right.
So it was only after we were diagnosed and spoke to him that he mentioned that he was also impacted, making it 4 of us impacted. Him, my father, my brother, and myself.
Right.
So there's a lot of issues there, and that's why we need to have these kind of forums and the one we are having tomorrow.
Right. And I soon get to that a little bit. Doc, let's talk a little bit about lifestyle. I know you're big on lifestyle. So let's go into that, on how it affects some of these diagnoses in our communities, right?
Yeah. So lifestyle is everything, So an example would be healthy eating. When you eat, when your system is right, everything goes on well, right? Your organs are working normally. If you exercise, right, then the body is not in a state of inflammation. So what happens is when you're smoking, you're having alcohol, drugs, you're not exercising, you know, and then obesity is a big thing. You know, when you're obese, people with obesity, they produce what we call inflammatory markers, which means they secrete certain chemicals that causes the body to be like in a state of stress. And because of that, they are predisposed to medical conditions, cancers, diabetes, high blood pressure, name it. So when you start making all those changes by, let's say, exercising at least 150 minutes a week, I say eat the rainbow. Cut down on your carbohydrates, cut down on your meat. I know we like meat, but we have cut down on your meat. You know, eat fish instead of meat. Drink water, right? A lot of time people would choose alcohol over water, or they would choose pop instead of water. So, you know, let's change our lifestyles. And that's, you know, sometimes it's because we grow up that way.
Right.
For us, sometimes enjoyment means eating meat. Enjoyment means drinking alcohol. But we have to change the narrative and say, yes, you can still enjoy with a cup of tea. You can
Right.
still enjoy by drinking water. You can still have fun or liming. You can still hang out with friends just with a glass of wine, just one, and you call it quit. So it's all hands on deck, you know. And Anthony, you were talking about prostate cancer. You know, my dad died of prostate cancer. He had it for 18 years. So I'm really, really passionate about that. And my goal is to reach out and to men to say, get screened.
Yes.
Get screened. In African men, usually would say start screening by 40, by 50-ish. In African men, I would say even 45, 50. 45 or 40, sorry, start screening. Don't wait. If you see anything wrong, don't wait. And we, the women, we should encourage you to go
Right.
to get screened, because there's also some link between prostate cancer and breast cancer. So we have to, if you are a woman and you have a family history of prostate cancer, please get your regular screening for breast cancer also.
So isn't there an issue of culture? Because what I'm hearing from both of you is it isn't talked about enough either within the male community, but there's a place in the conversation for the women to contribute. Anthony, let's talk about education then and culture. How do we drive more education?
Yeah, the education piece is key.
Yeah.
And I think the women are a big part of this. I mean, in terms of how we approach it, we try to get to the men one-on-one through various places, the barbershops, you know, the soccer clubs, the alumni association type thing. But more often than not, we get good success by including the women in the conversation, by having them participate in some of these forums, like the one we're having tomorrow, coming to some of our monthly meetings. Sometimes we attract them by bringing in other topics that they might be interested in, which might be breast cancer, for example. So you have to try a lot of different strategies to kind of meet people where they are and kind of get at it that way.
Yeah, Doc, lots of the conversation also happens within the medical space, right? Talk to us a little bit from your practice and the others around you. What are some of the things that you face around educating, patients and the community around this?
Oh boy, it's always this thing about that is not my portion. Almost like there's something about you, that person, that you're immune to it. So that is not my portion. Yes, but go screen, right? People would say, no, maybe I'm a Christian, maybe I have this religion, I'm spirituality, therefore I won't have breast cancer. Breast cancer doesn't discriminate between race or sex or whatever, right? It can come to anybody. Just think of it. For every 200 women that are screened for breast cancer, at least you save a life. That's good statistics. And same for prostate cancer. If you get screened, it saves a life. So we as family, as doctors, every time someone comes for their checkup, and even if it's not a checkup, sometimes they might just come for a prescription refill, and I'll use that opportunity to say, oh, just give me 2 minutes of your time. Let me check what screening test you need at this point. Sometimes they will say, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to book for a physical, which takes longer time. And I'll say, just take this paper for the mammogram, get it done, and then you can come when you have time and we'll review it. And and you'll be amazed at how many times we get prostate cancer or breast cancer just from that approach.
Right.
Could I just add also that, like myself, I started screening at age 40 because of the family history.
Yeah.
And that makes such a huge difference, right? Because you get that baseline PSA. The PSA is just a blood test.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's not painful at all. You do that annually. You monitor annually to see how the PSA is moving, right? And if there's a big spike in one year, then that might prompt you to go on and be referred on to a specialist.
Exactly.
The other part of the screening is, the digital exam. A lot of the guys don't want to do that, but the family doctor can pick up, or the urologist, if something is amiss with the prostate, by using a gloved finger to just go in through the bottom, and check the prostate to see if there's any rough edges, any abnormalities on there. That could save your life. We have men in the organization who are still with us 5, 10, 15, 20 years post-treatment.
Right.
So we think if this disease is caught early enough, there is a chance for you to still have a good quality of life, going forward.
But isn't this where culture kicks in and appreciation? Because, Doc, I hear over and over again, and maybe I don't know if I'm guilty, because at least I go often enough, but the men don't want to go to the doctor. Generally.
Yeah, and it's true. I hear you. The men don't want to go to the doctors. And what I'll emphasize also is, don't be afraid of rectal exam, right? Right now, they don't really recommend it as first line. We can still do PSA, because sometimes you might do the exam and you feel some rough edges, and then there's a lot of investigations, right? So even if it's just doing the blood test, yes, if you don't want to do the rectal exam, at least let's do the investigation, right? Let's do the blood work, which is a PSA, and we'll monitor it.
Right. And I'm still going back to this question of culture. And both of you can maybe jump in on this. There's the perception as well that cancer is an old people disease, right? It happens when you get old, right? And therefore,
I was diagnosed at 54. I've spoken to men who've been diagnosed before 40.
Right.
So never make the assumption, right, that you're too young on there. And in particular, we recommend that if you're of African descent, you start testing at age 40.
Right.
The recommendation for the general population is like 50, right? What we think the earlier, the better, right? Because you'll see those abnormalities hopefully showing up in the PSA, and that might alert you to go get checked.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with lifestyle. Like Dr. Kangong, isn't the same thing with a young woman and breast cancer and doing their mammogram and stuff like that? Where's this perception of, I'm still young and invincible?
Oh yeah. And you're also even just checking their breasts by themselves. Women, when you take a shower, just check. And if you see something out of the ordinary, go see your doctor, right? Most of the time, breast cancers get diagnosed first, picked up first by the woman who notices, oh, there's something not right here. It looks different, and they bring it to our attention. We see people in their 20s with breast cancer. Some don't even have family history, right? We see some, right? We see like 8 out of 9 people sometimes with breast cancer, from some statistics, they don't have family history. So we all have a role to play. Examine yourself. Sometimes it gets picked up by the partners, whoever, and bring it to our attention. And think of just the mammogram. We'll do the mammogram. If the mammogram really doesn't pick pick it well, we go next to ultrasound. If that doesn't, if we're like question mark, sometimes we'll do biopsy. Sometimes we'll send you for MRI. But the goal is to early diagnosis saves lives.
And maybe that's the big thing, early diagnosis. Let's talk a little bit about some of the myths around the cancers, right? Anthony, I'm sure you have heard, stories. I mean, rum solve everything. Who knows?
We've heard them all. Too much sex, too little sex. you know, and on, infection, you name it. We've heard them all. They're not proven, not true, and this is why we try to help address some of these issues at our monthly meetings and some of the seminars and symposiums we put on.
Right.
We're not medical professionals. We come at this from the patient perspective.
Right.
But we also recognize that we have a responsibility to provide credible people who have experience, who've done the research, who can provide the evidence, you know, to debunk some of these myths.
Right. Doc, what are some of the myths that you hear?
Well, for me, what I hear is, witchcraft is the big one. It's always, yeah, the grandpa was a witch in the village, and that's why you're being punished for that, you know? Or sometimes I hear, you insulted somebody in the village, and that's why they're punishing you for that. So we get all those things. So
So it depends on how strong, as we'd say in Jamaica, how strong the science is, right? Right, Anthony?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So if that's the case, and one of the questions I see popping up here is there are obviously other cancers that occur, right? Doc, maybe back to you on this. What are some of the other cancers and the education process that we need to go through to help people understand that these are other issues that cause these cancers as well?
there's also lung cancer, right? Smoking is the big. Lung cancer is the number one cancer right now, followed by breast, then prostate and colorectal cancer. So for colorectal cancer, there's a simple test, which is a stool test. We start screening at 50 years of age. We screen between 50 to 74, and the screening is every 2 years, right? And so it's so easy. You go to the lab, they give you a little container, you go home, you put it, the poop, off you go. And for lung cancer, the screening, usually we do like a low dose CT scan that we can do. Sometimes even if in developing countries where they can't even afford that, sometimes people just start with a simple X-ray, and then they see like a lump, and that guides them. Oh, we need to investigate this further.
Right.
You know. And then we have the pancreatic cancer, which to me is a monster because it's the painless cancer, and it just comes up, before you know it, somebody is already in stage 3 or stage 4.
Right.
But all I would say is there's not like one particular blood test for all the cancers. I'm still waiting for that magic one, the day when we get there. So if you feel out of the ordinary, if you feel like something is not right, the most common symptoms for most cancers will be, we call them the B symptoms: fever, weight loss, night sweats. If you suddenly start having those 3 things, rush, go see your doctor.
Right.
Fever, weight loss, night sweats. Go see your doctor. Something is not right.
Anthony, you're having an event. The Walnut Foundation is having an event tomorrow. Share a little about it for those who are watching, and especially those in Ontario who might benefit from it. I also think there's an element of it that is virtual, right?
So the event is it's virtual actually. So
right. Okay.
You don't have to be in Ontario. This is a conference that's being, or annual health conference, and we're doing a joint collaboration with the African Cancer Support Group, which is in your area, out in Calgary. Why are we doing this? The issue on there is that we are disproportionately impacted as a people. Caribbean peoples, West Africans, Black Canadians, Black Americans, disproportionately impacted by prostate cancer. We're 76% more likely to be diagnosed, 2.2 times more likely to die from this thing. And this is from something that's preventable. So tomorrow, we have this conference. So you can go to any one of these websites, www.thewalnutfoundation.com. It's on the screen there, or africancancer.ca to register. And you'll get a link. You join the conference at 9 a.m. Eastern time, which is I believe it's what time is that in Calgary?
777.
Yeah. So we have a strong lineup of speakers. Dr. Neil Fleshner from Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto will be talking about the genetics and a study that they're collaborating with the Walnut Foundation on. That's geared to Black folks. Dr. Nicole Colas will speak to exercise, the role of exercise in better health outcomes, after treatment. Dr. Akwatu Kenti is a keynote speaker, and he'll be touching on some of the mental health issues with respect to that. Dr. John Olive from BC will be talking about masculinity and sexuality issues. And we also have a representative from Movember, the mustache folks, who will be talking about Movember and what they're doing globally,
right,
to do with issues around prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and mental health, mainly from a male perspective.
Yeah,
but all are welcome. It's not just for men.
Right.
It's a
and we just popped up,
family disease,
We just popped up the link on the screen. It's also in the comments, folks. Open for everybody, and it's sounds like a great lineup. I know there's a foundation here in Calgary, so I'm not sure if Yinka is watching, but she and her group has been trying to spread the word.
Yinka is a part of this, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And
it's free, by the way.
And there you go, free.
Doc,
I want to get a little bit more out of you about lifestyle, obesity, diet around all of this. Share with us some tips. I see your posts from time to time to help people focus a little bit more on this whole, lifestyle and the impact on cancers.
Yeah, so our environment plays a big role. We grew up with lots of carbohydrates in our diet. Yes, we can have those carbohydrates, but we can cut down on that a little bit because high carbohydrates also leads to diabetes. And so let's think of eating more vegetables, and you can start, like when you want to change something, it's bit by bit. You can't just, we don't expect you to just suddenly one day just say, I'm done with this. It's almost like people who want to stop smoking and they say, I'm done today. Most of the time they'll fall back. That's the same with lifestyle changes. And that's why I don't believe in those diets that would say, okay, from today, I'm just going to drink juice for 1 week. I'm just going to drink vegetable. I'm just going to eat vegetables for 1 week. Because after that, you go back to your old lifestyle. So start by making small changes. Set smart goals, which are like specific, which you say, okay, right now, from starting this week, I'm going to start adding vegetables into my diet. Into every meal that I eat, I'll add vegetable. And according to the Canada Food Guide, at least 3/4 of your plate or half of your plate should be vegetable. Then you have your carbohydrate on the side. Then you have your meat and your vegetables on the side. But if you think of the way we eat, mostly as immigrants, you'd have a bowl, big bowl full of rice, a little sauce in the middle, a little vegetable. So it's time for us to change that narrative. So very, very important. And I would never tell anybody to say never eat your traditional meal because I'm just setting you up for failure. You can't change what you've been used to doing in the past. And then life is to enjoy. So you have to enjoy your traditional foods, but in moderation. If you can say once a week, I'm going to eat my traditional food, but a small quantity. So really important to make those little choices.
So for the Jamaican people who, have the half dozen dumpling and 2 pieces of yam and, half a chicken, and we don't call it sauce, Doc, we call it gravy. We have this thing that the rice have a beard and a gravy. Stop it, cut it back bit by bit. Right? True, Anthony, isn't that what we're hearing?
For sure. That's healthy living is better.
Eat some vegetable. Listen, the clock is ticking and I have 2 more quick questions. Let's talk about the families, Anthony. How do we get the families to help with this whole community thing? And the families that are affected How do we support them as well?
So, if I use my example, everybody's involved. My wife is involved. My kids are involved. We run an annual walkathon. They're involved with that piece. The seminars and community events, they get involved with that. When you are diagnosed, I think it's important to have support. Okay. And that's what we try to do. And when I say support, I mean things like you're going to an appointment, you're newly diagnosed. Don't go by yourself. Bring your spouse, bring somebody along who can take notes for you, because oftentimes, I'm speaking from experience, you go in there and, they're telling you all these options, and, all you're thinking about is your impending demise. You're not hearing anything. So it's important to bring somebody with you to help take notes, help ask questions, jog your memory later on when you're trying to formulate a position in terms of what to do. The other thing too is that the supporters, the caregivers, they need support as well.
Right.
Right. It could be to help with hospital visits. It might be to help with meals, depending on the severity of the cancer, and a whole host of other supports that might be needed.
Right.
So that's what I would say. So wherever we can include the family in the discussion in a tangible way, that's to be commended. It's
right.
It's really sad when you hear that somebody showed up at a hospital and after a number of tests they just had to go right away to surgery and nobody's aware. And that's really, really sad. So it's important to help at the screening part, to get the men involved in that process.
Right.
And then once diagnosed, you need that support of family, of community, to help with decision making or provide any kind of supports that you need.
Right.
We have to treat this as a community disease. You look at the stats, in Zimbabwe, it's 41.7 per 100,000 in terms of mortality. And that's number one in the world. Barbados, 40.3 per 100,000. Zambia, 40.1. Jamaica, 39.4. Right? But the global data on that is 7.7 per 100,000.
Right.
There is something going on with us in the Pan-African world.
Right.
We need to be aware of that. We need to be aware of our heightened risk.
Right.
And the heightened deaths, and start beginning to address this. Right. Yeah. I think we can make a difference if we start getting folks screened early, tested early, because prostate cancer is treatable.
Right.
So we need to do more of these kinds of engagements to get the word out, to get different parts of the community involved in the discussion and the discourse around this condition.
Yeah, it's a serious thing. It's
fixable.
Yeah, Doc, how do you help your patients extend the circle and help their families deal with some of these discussions and these issues?
Like, I try to have them come into the appointments with their family members, because when you're there and we're giving you this diagnosis, when you're all alone, all you hear is death. When you hear the C word, cancer, the first thing that comes to mind is, this is it for me. But when you have a family member there, they can help you know, to give you hope, to tell you exactly what they talked about.
Mhm.
Just think of, for example, for a localized breast cancer, the survival rate is like 99%. But when somebody comes to you with and you tell them they have breast cancer, they can even die faster before their time because of just the psychological impact. Prostate cancer, people don't die from it, they die with it.
Right.
That's just what, you know, it takes a long time. I was a caregiver for my dad. 18 years he had prostate cancer. He had stage 4 cancer for 6 years. So I am an advocate for prostate cancer. And I was a caregiver. I needed to take care of myself at some point because it's very challenging. You get to a point where you feel like you put yourself in that person's shoes and you are struggling more than them. So if you're a caregiver, accept help from people. You know, give yourself permission to enjoy life.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we feel like, oh, my family member is going through this struggle. I can't go enjoy life. You have to fill your cup before you can take care of them. I
Right.
remember personally, I got to a point where my dad, you had to look at me and say, listen, you have your husband, you have your kids to take care of. I am the one who has prostate cancer, not you. You have your life in front of you. Please go and enjoy your life. That was like an aha moment for me where I was like, oh, I've been set free.
Right.
I have the right to enjoy myself, right? So I think we are all in this together. We work as a family. Support the person who's going through that the treatment, but also take care of yourself.
And that might be the message we end on. While we deal with all of this, remember to take care of yourself. MJ, if you can flash that information about the event one more time for those who are on. The Walnut Foundation is hosting a conference tomorrow. It's free. Jump on their website, learn something. There's always an option to learn. It's virtual, so you don't have to go anywhere, right? And I think as we share information about these events, right, the idea is that all of us can take something from it. Thank you, Dr. Kangong. Thank you, Anthony, for being a part of A Time to Reason here on Watagwan. And for everybody watching, take care of yourself. Like the doc says, you can't really help if the cup is empty. All right?
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for having us. Appreciate
All right,
it.
guys. Take care.
Hope to see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Shelly.
I know. I
Tough-
have a lot
tough
to
talk.
say.
Tough talk, but good reasoning, you know.
Very, very good reason.
Because I tell you, these are things we have to talk about.
Yes.
We have to, you know, share the information. We have to encourage each other. We have to demystify this thing,
Yes.
you know, because it's not something I know culturally. Just talking from my own experience growing up, it's not something that you hear your family talk about, right? It is stigmatized, you know, and to that extent, it covers down the education and the information and the knowledge, right?
But you know, I agree with you, but I can also share that I think because I mean the statistics themselves show the high percentage of our Black men who are diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I think the conversation has begun amongst younger generation because it is their uncles and their aunts. I mean, I followed my father to his examination. I was sitting there with him, my father-in-law as well. So yes, it is stigmatized. However, because of technology, because of the prevalence I find of prostate cancer, of breast cancer, there is more talk about it and
Totally
sharing
agree.
of information.
Well, totally agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, 20 years ago, you never have these kinds of conversations,
No.
right? As my father got older, you know, my uncle has been diagnosed with prostate cancer for quite a few years now.
Mhm.
And it's something that we talk about.
Yeah.
Talk about how it impacts him, right? But, you know, quite a few years ago, that would never happen, right? So it's something that we have to keep going at. I see a couple of comments in here. Yes, Neville, big up, thanks, brethren. I know Glenn had shared something about some insurance policies that have
Yes, yes, yes,
services
yes, yes.
attached to them, right? So maybe something for people who have their policies around, critical illness and other similar things, to ask those questions,
Yeah.
right? To see if these services are things that you can tap into, right? What was it? Self-care is very important. Yes,
Yes, that's prudence. So
right?
true. So
Right?
true.
So that at least you can. What was the statement? Ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure,
Cure all the time. Yes.
right? Because if we don't take this on and get away from some of the stigma and the don't start, as mother say, right? Because with all the technology and all the access and all the things that are available to us, right? Deal with what is preventable, right? Deal with what is preventable, because I think if we don't, then we end up on the other side of the equation, which in my view is not necessarily where a lot of people want to be, right? And the other thing too is support. It must be tough, I can tell you, right? To be the caregiver and to be the primary support agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. So when you see somebody a bit of support person, help them out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
help them out.
Caregivers need care as well. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
man. Yeah,
And
man.
caregiver burnout is a real thing.
Yeah. So I go another reasoning,
Excellent job.
another round of good content. All right, we do it again next week.
Of course.
And this never really worked out to Labrish.
No, but it was a really
serious
good,
talk.
serious reasoning. It was good.
All right, take it easy, Shelly.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Again, another fantastic discussion. We really appreciate everybody's comments. It was just so lively, so true. Prudence, good evening. Always good to hear from you. So let us talk about the patois word of the day, which is labrish. Labrish. I actually saw Prudence, Betty. What a way them sit down and labrish from morning. Or them can labrishing. Prudence, you get it. Them can gossiping, them can chatting, them can laba. Excellent, Prudence. Spot on. That is labrish. Them can labrishing. Love it. Perfect. Now, spot the place. And I'm sure I got some comments here. Jamaica Canadian Association, Alberta. Holland Bamboo, yes. Prudence, nicely, Betty. Bamboo Grove, of course. And Prudence, Betty, Bamboo Grove. Excellent. That's it. Everybody got it. That's where it is. And again, if you haven't visited, next time you're in Jamaica, put it on your to-do. It is a must-see and a must experience. Next week, we continue our series of great episode. Ooh, hold on there, Shauna. You just elaborate on what a Gwaan so. Shauna. Perfect. You just elaborate on what a Gwaan so. Choo-choo. Now, next week, we continue our series of great episodes with discussions on Jamaican national heroes. Who should be a national hero? National Heroes Day in Jamaica is October 24th. Our guests include Ambassador Curtis Ward. It's our last show this season before the finale. So please join us. We want to hear from you. We want you also participate in this very interesting topic. Ooh. Marketing coordinator. We are looking for an experienced marketing coordinator and content creator on a volunteer basis to join our Gwaan National team. This is a phenomenal opportunity to hone your communications, creative, and marketing skills, and to work and receive mentorship with a team of professionals located across Canada. Students are welcome. You must have experience working in marketing social media space, have experience creating marketing social media campaigns. You must also be familiar with the Jamaican Canadian culture. Come and be a part of a vibrant team of people who are all passionate about sharing all aspects of our beautiful Jamaican culture with the world. Do you know someone who is perfect for these roles? Please share this information with them and send them a link to our show. We'd love to hear from them. Send your resume to us via our social media accounts or simply email us at watagwancnd@gmail.com. Send us your video saying Watagwan so we can add it to the show. Check out our website. Send us an email. Contact us on all our social media. We want to hear from you. We want you to tell me Watagwan. My name is Shelley Morgan. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Watagwan. Health is wealth, and at all stages of our lives, there are steps we need to take to ensure that we live a long, healthy life. We encourage you to strive to be the healthiest and best version of you. Early diagnosis saves life. Wishing you a wonderful weekend. Walk good.